Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mindful Mondays here at the Dallas Meditation Center, coming to you online through our YouTube stream. So glad that you could join us tonight. Mindful Mondays is practical mindfulness for everyday living. And tonight we'll be doing our practice of um, sitting meditation. It will be slightly guided, and then I will give a reading, and then we will. Then after we are through with that, then we will, for those of you who are live and would like to join in discussion and sharing, we will do that through Zoom conference room afterwards. And the link to that is in the chat, the live chat here on YouTube. And if you're logged in through a YouTube account and possibly through a Gmail account, you can see that live chat and you can participate. So I welcome you also, if you're listening live, to check in through that YouTube, through the chat box, the live chat is following on the screen. So we're broadcasting through YouTube now, because of the the recommendations of what's going on, worldwide. Our physical location is not open, so we are meeting here through our YouTube channel and continuing our practices through here. So welcome to everyone who has been here before and who might be one of our regular members who come to Mindful Mondays in person, and those of you who might be finding this online, either live or recorded later, welcome to you as well. So let's begin tonight with our opening affirmation. And some of you know this, and if you don't, well, listen along, and by next week, maybe you'll have it memorized. So here we go, our opening affirmation. May we and all beings be happy and free. May we and all beings transform our suffering. May we and all beings rejoice in all joys. May we and all beings be at peace, awakening to the truth of who we are, infinite light, infinite love, infinite love. As I said, I welcome you to check in in the live chat box, and hello, Lisa, about to you as well. My name is Cornell, and you might want to say your name, maybe something you're grateful for, or just a hello, and if we can't tell by your user ID, go ahead and state your name. That would be great. But our practice tonight, the practice of meditation and mindfulness. In meditation, it's really, sometimes we talk about clearing the mind, or removing thoughts from the mind and quieting the mind. Well, I think if that's our only focus, that's going to be difficult. Some people might be good at quieting the mind, or slowing it down, or something like that. But the thing of removing thoughts or emptying the mind, I don't even know if that's possible. Our mind is doing what our mind does, and it's there working for us. It's thinking of things. It's helping you, make it through life. But where we get into trouble is sometimes the mind takes us to, worrying about the future, anxiety about the past, and we do that so much that maybe we don't even live in the present moment. We never, enjoy a breath right here and right now. We might not even see the blue sky in front of us, or today, as the case is here, at times cloudy and cool day. So we might not even notice that because our mind is so preoccupied also. So mindfulness and meditation, in the way that we will be practicing, is about bringing the mind's focus to the present moment. And we do that through focusing on the breath. And so we're giving our mind something else to do when it wanders elsewhere. And it's about becoming aware when the mind has wandered elsewhere, is to realize that it has wandered. And then come back to our breathing or some other mindful activity that brings you back to the present moment. So I will read a few of the notes on the screen here. We have Alex. He says, hi, grateful to be here and looking forward to relaxing. Donald says, I am grateful for solitude and emotional living. Rich says, Patty and Rich here, peace and love. Kwan says, looking forward to meditating with you all tonight. Alex says, hi, y'all. Oh, Nicole says, hi, y'all. Nicole and I here, and I'm grateful for shelter and choice for stillness. And Joshua is here, and he says, a little late, but I'm here. So, welcome, everyone. And I'm going to put up one more time that link to the Zoom room, the Zoom conference afterwards. So if you would like to join in the sharing and discussion, and you're on the live feed, that link will be here. And I will open up just a minute or two after I close the YouTube session here once the broadcast is through. Then we can go over there. So let's go into our meditation now. So I welcome you to find a comfortable position. If you're at home, I hope you'll turn off the phone and not be tempted to look at it, or be free yourself from other distractions if possible. It's fine to be sitting or lying down, whatever is comfortable for you. You could even choose to do a walking meditation if you prefer. And I will do a lightly guided metta meditation, and there will be moments of speaking and several minutes of silence, and you'll hear some bells while we're meditating. And, if you prefer to have a completely silent meditation, well, you can treat my voice just like a cloud in the sky or any other inconsequential sound in the room. And since we're doing this through technology, you could also mute me if you prefer. Anyway, so let's begin with our meditation. So listening to 3 sounds of the bell. Listening to this bell, I come back to my true home in the present moment. Finding that stable position, centering the weight above our hips. If we're seated, and sending that weight down into the floor or the chair or the mat or cushion. Sending that weight down into the earth. If we're lying down, feeling that sense of sending our weight down into the cushion or the floor or the blanket that we're on. Sending that weight down. Centering in our seated position, we're centering the spine above our hips. The head held high, the mind back. The eyes may be closed or slightly open in an unfocused gaze. Feeling a lightness come over the top of the body. The face is soft. Jaw and throat relaxed. Release. Shoulders loose, arms hanging down. We're seated, the hands maybe in the lap or on the knees, or clasped in front of you. You're lying down, perhaps they're clasped on the stomach or lying on the floor. Nowhere to be but here. No other time but right now. Relax. Each breath settling in a little bit more. Each breath sending all of that weight and heaviness down into the floor. Each breath feeling that lightness coming over the top of the body. Flowing down. Release. Breathing in. Aware I am breathing in. Breathing out. Aware that I am breathing out. Aware of each breath in and each breath out during this meditation. Allowing ourselves to fully experience the breath. Where do we feel that breath? Perhaps we feel it at the nose and mouth. Maybe we're more aware of it in the throat. We're more aware of it in the chest, the rib cage, or down low, noticing the breath in the belly. Wherever you notice it, allow that to be your tool to come to the present moment. Your tool for coming and living, coming back and living right here and right now. Breathing in, following that breath deep within the lungs. Breathing out, feeling that breath as it leaves from deep within the lungs and out to the nose and mouth. These sounds in their own are just sounds in their own, like clouds that may pass on a sunny day. You might notice them, you might not. But they're of no consequence. Just like our thoughts or sounds that may come and go during our meditation. Any sounds outside the room or outside our house that we can hear are just life. Life in the present moment. Just going on. Just bring our attention back to our breath. Noticing that spot where we feel the breath. Or following along its path. In this breath, I am aware. this breath out, I release. Aware. Release. Now bringing to mind someone that you care deeply about. Someone who it's easy for you to express and to feel love for. Someone that has deep meaning in you. Picturing that person in the moment. In good health. Cared for. Happy. May that person find peace. May that person have good friends. May that person have love in their lives. May that person be freed from suffering. That person, breathing in, breathing out, free, happy, free, free. Even in being present for the next universe. bringing to mind someone who we might have neutral feelings about, neither good nor bad. Just maybe someone that we pass at work when we're not working from home, or maybe when we are working from home. Maybe someone, a few blocks over that we pass by sometimes. Maybe someone maybe at school. Just someone who's just in and out of your life with no strong emotion. Not even know it's in there. Just bringing that person to mind. Perhaps more than one person. Picturing them surrounded with friends. Picturing them happy. Picturing them healthy and well. May they have good friends. May they be loved. May they be safe. May they be sheltered. May they know love. May they be happy and free. Breathing in happy. Breathing out free. Happy. Free. Happy. Breathing with that for the next minute. Breathing in and breathing out. Bringing to mind someone who you might find difficult to love. Someone who might be a challenge to get around. And as we are able, be able to picture that person, have friendship in their lives. May they have someone to care for them, to nurture them, someone to be able to help them. Someone to care and love for them. May they have good health. May they have friends. Knowing that their happiness will help them and I benefit from their happiness. May they be loved, may they have friends, may they be healthy, may they have shelter, may they be happy, breathing in happy, breathing out free, happy, free, happy, free, breathing for the next few minutes, focusing on happy, free. Finally, bringing to mind myself, ourselves. Sometimes the part that we overlook, picturing myself surrounded by friends, picturing myself healthy, picturing myself having shelter, being safe and protected, picturing myself knowing love. May I have good friends, may I be safe, may I be free from suffering, may I be loved, may I be happy and free. Breathing in happy, breathing out free. Happy, free, happy, free. And for the next minutes before the final breath, just breathing, picturing ourselves happy, free. safe, fully present in this moment. Breathing in happy, breathing out free, happy, free. Listening to the sound of two bells. My body is still. My mind is open. Allowing the body to come gently back into the room, this space. Wake up. Go ahead and stretch the neck if you need to. Legs or fingers and shoulders. Continuing to be in this mindful state. No need to hurry or rush around. In a moment we'll do our reading. But for now, just allow yourself to gently wake up. And if you've joined us, during our meditation, you may have missed the beginning part. I'll post the link for our sharing and discussion room in the chat on the right-hand side. Well, it is on my screen anyway, and you might see it there. There's a link to our Zoom chat. And we will meet up there. That room will open after the YouTube broadcast closes, after our sharing. After our reading. And I'll also say at this point too, since we aren't meeting in person, we at the Dallas Meditation Center are also missing you. You're our songwriter as well. Sometimes this broadcast feels a little bit one way. I know we have our Zoom conference, which helps. But we'd love to hear from you. So please do contact us. Let us know how you're doing. You can, our email address is at the DallasMeditationCenter.com. You can email us there or go to the website, DallasMeditationCenter.com, and you can find it, contact us. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new, we'd also like to hear from you as well. But please do keep in touch. We would really like to know how you're doing. And it's really important, since we aren't meeting in person, that, we make the effort to stay connected, keep this wonderful community strong and supportive of each other, even though physically we might not be able to be together, for 2 more weeks or a month. I'm not quite sure. Now on Mondays, we often have a reading followed by discussion. Our reading tonight was chosen by Cheryl, and she may tell us more about the reading when we get in the discussion group, but I will do the reading tonight. This comes from the book No Mud, No Lotus by Thich Nhat Hanh, The Art of Transforming Suffering. If any of you happen to have this book, this is going to be on page 12. And I'd like to read this section, which is No Mud, No Lotus. And if you're following along, I'm going to start one paragraph early. Some say that suffering is only an illusion, or that to live wisely, we have to transcend both suffering and joy. I say the opposite. The way to suffer well and be happy is to stay in touch with what is actually going on. In doing so, you will gain liberating insights into the true nature of suffering and joy. Both suffering and happiness are of organic nature, which means they are both transitory. They are always changing. The flower, when it wilts, becomes the compost. The compost can help grow a flower again. Happiness is also organic and impermanent by nature. It can become suffering, and suffering can become happiness. If you look deeply into a flower, you see that a flower is made only of non-flower elements. In that flower, there is a cloud. Of course, we don't know a cloud isn't a flower, but without a cloud, a flower can't be. If there's no cloud, there's no rain and no flower can grow. You don't have to be a dreamer to see a cloud floating in a cloud. It's really there. Sunlight is also there. Sunlight isn't a flower, but without sunlight, no flower is possible. If we continue to look deeply into the flower, we see many other things, like the earth and the minerals. Without them, a flower cannot be. So it's a fact that a flower is made only of non-flower elements. A flower can't be there by herself alone. A flower can only interbe with everything else. You can't remove the sunlight, the soil, or the cloud from the flower. In each of our Plum Village practice centers around the world, we have a lotus pond. Everyone knows we need to have mud for lotuses to grow. The mud doesn't smell so good, but the lotus flower smells very good. If you don't have mud, the lotus won't manifest. You can't grow lotus flowers on marble. Without mud, there can be no lotus. It is possible, of course, to get stuck in the mud of life. It's easy enough to notice mud all over you at times. The hardest thing to practice is not allowing yourself to be overwhelmed by despair. When you're overwhelmed by despair, all you can see is suffering everywhere you look. You feel as if the worst thing is happening to you. But we must remember that suffering is a kind of mud that we need in order to generate joy and happiness. Without suffering, there's no happiness. So we shouldn't discriminate against the mud. We have to learn how to embrace and cradle our own suffering and the suffering of the world with a lot of tenderness. When I lived in Vietnam during the war, it was difficult to see our way through that dark and heavy mud. It seemed like the destruction would just go on and on forever. Every day people would ask me if I thought the war would end soon. It was very difficult to answer because there was no end in sight. But I knew if I said, I don't know, that would only water that person's seeds of despair. So when people ask me that question, I reply, everything is impermanent, even war. It will end someday. Knowing that, we could continue to work for peace. And indeed, the war did end. Now the formal mortal enemies are busily trading and touring back and forth, and people throughout the world enjoy practicing our tradition's teachings on mindfulness and peace. If you know how to make good use of the mud, you can grow beautiful lotuses. If you know how to make good use of your suffering, you can produce happiness. We do need some suffering to make happiness possible. And most of us have enough suffering inside and around us to be able to do that. We don't need to create any more than we're ready. So we will use that reading to as a basis of our discussion in the conference room that will follow. So we might formulate, what does that mean to you? What do you recognize in that? This contains several of Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings that I think are very integral to our practice of mindfulness. The thought of interbeing. The flower is made up of the sun, the soil, the rain, the cloud. The only thing that's not in the flower is flour. Um, flour is made up of non-flour elements. Same with us as humans. So that interbeing piece, um, that whole thing of mud becoming a lotus, it requires mud to create the lotus. The mud has to be there in order for the flower to bloom. And um, looking at what that means in our own life, well, we illustrated it well. That suffering, and understanding that suffering is, you know, that is present, so that joy and happiness can be present as well. Um, so I'm interested to know, your thoughts on that. And you're also welcome, if you like, you can put things in the chat window too, if you have some thoughts that you'd like to share with others who are in the chat window on the YouTube stream. It's something to think about. And so before we close, I'm going to put up the Zoom link one more time. You might already see it, but to find that way, I'll put it up again. And I'm also going to put up the couple more links. So I've also put up the donation links. Our center, the Dallas Meditation Center, is a nonprofit educational human services organization, and we operate totally by the donations of people who attend our events. There is no other organization supporting this organization, and also these online activities are brought to you by that as well. Bobby said it well last night. When you come in person, you notice there's a donation jar or a basket out front. And since we aren't meeting together anymore, that no one is dropping anything into that donation jar or that basket. And so we must reach for that virtual donation jar, virtual basket. So I welcome you to give. The links are also down in the description. And even if you're watching this recorded later, you're welcome to participate in that. DallasMeditationCenter.com/give, and then you can also use your phone and text the word mindful to 44328. But importantly, it's really about taking what we do on the meditation cushion and living it in everyday life. Meditation does not stop on the cushion or the chair. Mindfulness and meditation, those practices go with us everywhere. And the benefits go with us everywhere. Unlike any other muscle in our body, our meditation muscle, we need to continue to exercise that and to practice and more exercising our stores of hope and happiness and compassion. They continue to grow, and we can find that door to our compassion and open that, and that includes compassion for ourselves and others around us. So I would like to close now with our closing, the 4 vows of awakening beings. And after this closes, give me a couple of minutes to open up the Zoom chat, and those of us who have come along from the live stream, I'll see you over there. But let's close with our closing chant. The 4 vows of awakening beings. We will recite it. If you know it, please recite along. Otherwise, you'll know it for next time. Countless beings we vow to free. Ceaseless afflictions we vow to end. Limitless truth doors we vow to open. the deepest paths of awakening, we vow to realize. Thank you for joining us, everyone.